What's happening in Arkansas?
Well, I had a cat under my trailer last night, and
But that made her happy.
she was not happy. She was not happy at all. In fact, because I know exactly which one it was Big Boy. It's one of the barn cats. He comes walking under, and I hear him over by the kitchen to begin with, and it's this meow, meow, meow. I'm like, oh my god! And
Salem's instantly, what the hell is this? Who's in my territory? With
yeah,
a 6-pound cat.
Salem woke up from the bed, like sat up straight, and then came waddling out and sat on top of him and goes, yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm like, he is not in the trailer, Salem. And he's following me. So I go to the bathroom. I'm getting ready to go to bed. And I hear, Mom, Mom. And it's just coming from the kitchen over to the bathroom. And here comes Salem right behind me.
Oh, she is so special ed.
I'm like, there's a floor between you two. There's a whole
Doesn't
floor.
matter, man. Doesn't matter, man. That's a boy cat, and she don't do boy cats for sure. I don't know how she feels about females, but the boys she does not like. Because poor Thack, he tried.
He tried
so
so
hard.
hard. Well, I like,
God,
we're fucking laying in bed, and I hear, meow, from underneath the trailer. Just the saddest little meow.
Oh,
I'm
he's
like,
such a sweet boy.
oh, and Salem.
Oh, he's like, but there's a girl kitty in there. I like the girl kitties. No, the girl kitty does not like you.
I think they got a scent of her yesterday because I had the door open. And at one point, it was like Salem was sitting by the front door because the screen door was on. I'm sitting there doing work on this case that we're about to talk about. And this one calico comes walking up, and she is just the sweetest bean. And it took her ages to be like, I like you enough that I trust you to come up and not run away. I'm like, okay. So she's at the door looking in, and Salem looks back at her. I'm like, oh, is this going to end badly? Nothing.
It's the male cats. I think she's just
I'm like, you are really
over
a
their
lesbian.
shit, regardless. She might be. She might be. Let me shut my door real quick.
It's just like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, that was quite interesting to be sitting on the like recliner, and then all of a sudden, I've got ears at the door. I was like, what the fuck is going on over there? And I see her, and she goes, meow. I'm like, oh, hi, baby.
Let me bring you some kitty food. And other people are like, why don't you chase them off? They're feral. And it's like, no, they're not exactly feral. They've been dumped, which is just, to me, is, hideous. But it's not their fault. So we feed them. Plus, they keep the mice and insects down in the area. So they are what we would call barn cats. But like I told your dad, when I get down there and when we all get moved there, the first thing I want to do is find a vet clinic that will help us spay and neuter them so that we don't have more.
Bibis.
Because they will just overpopulate the area, and I don't want that to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, I like the feral. Big Boy was so funny when we were there. He would follow your dad all over. In fact, as I'd go out and ask him, where's Tom? Like, I don't know. He just like often disappeared. Where is he? Meow, meow, meow. And off we'd go walking to see if we could find your dad.
Yeah, I've got bodyguards that follow me around. Both the
yes.
tuxedos follow me.
Yep. Yeah. Mine was the gray. The bigger
The
female
Russian.
that's really... Well, she's calico, but she's got gray over top of her, so you can just
Oh,
barely
the
see
muted calico. Yeah,
Yes, that's the gray.
the gray. Yeah, no,
Yeah, she'd follow us around.
I got my bodyguards, my FBI agents that follow me everywhere I
The
go on the
tuxedos.
property. The tuxedos.
Yeah. And it's probably not a bad thing to have because they're going to alert you to anything that's coming in the forest that you need to be alerted to. So, yeah. If they're with you, it's good. But yeah, I miss Big Boy. He was such a sweet boy. And I used to call him Mama Cat until I saw the big, massive cojones he has in the back. And I'm like, dude, I am so sorry about that. I totally did not know.
I've transitioned from calling him Big Boy to Moo Moo.
Moo moo.
Moo moo.
Well, he does do the mew mew too, but yeah, he's a sweetheart. Love him. And then all the wild-looking dogs that come visiting. The Dalmatian that my poor truck was so severely insulted. It's never seen the light of day. I mean, the longest it's been outside is maybe a few days at a time. It's always been garaged. When in Arkansas for a month, he had to sit outside. And the Dalmatian from across the street would come over and christen the tires on a daily basis. And I'm like, oh, the indignities my poor truck has had. Yes. Oh, God. Try getting that in the Arkansas clay out of shit is just, yeah. That's,
Oh my
no.
God. The best way that I found to get clay off your shoes is go for a walk in the woods.
Yeah. Dad has it on one of his shirts and in the
That's because the
little
man,
windbreaker.
no, the man went fucking sausage swimming in the trench, okay? He was gone for hours. Hours. And I'm like, where the hell did this motherfucker go? He comes back and he's just like fucking creature from the Black Lagoon. I'm like, what the
Only
hell
red.
happened to you?
Yeah, I know. He disappeared and I was like, where the hell did he go? He never said boo where he was going, what he was doing. And I'm like, dude, are you like walking the whole area? Well, yeah. I said, are you armed? Well, no. You realize there are wild pigs and
And
one bear,
a bear.
which we have actually seen the bear on the property.
Yeah.
So, yeah, granted, he was
His
parking
name's
distance
Baloo.
with us. Is it? Did you name him or
I've
did they
named
name
him Baloo.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, it's, yeah. Woo. I'm hitting hard. All right, I'm numb to the source, so we might be ready to rock and roll, because, yeah.
All right, let me do my little fly hands here, a little rub.
Ooh, she's warming up. She's getting really excited. I'm like,
All
I
right.
am not so. I don't even know what we're talking about, so this is a whole level for me.
So, before we get started, while we understand that some individuals listen for the entertainment aspect of true crime, it's important to remember that these are real people with families and friends who may still be suffering from their loss. These stories are not meant to open old wounds or cause further emotional damage to those involved. We remind you, please be respectful and do not dox or contact those involved with cases. The case discussed on this podcast today may be disturbing to some listeners, and listener discretion is advised. As far as trigger
Katie,
warnings
listener
go,
distraction is advised. Am I wrong?
listener distraction, or
Discretion with you is
Discretion.
always advised.
it was always advised. Yes, yes,
It's
yes, yes.
always advised. The colorful language. Yeah.
Oh my
Anyways.
God.
Okay. Triggers?
Triggers, I don't think we have any.
Oh, well, then I didn't need alcohol for this.
Oh, no, you do.
Deep breath. I can do it's it's not gonna be the ass hat from the first one, is it?
No.
Well, cool. If it's nothing like him, then I should be alright.
Yeah, you should be okay.
Oh Jesus, the facial smirk I can see right now. I am so no. Just remember I'm coming to visit and you gotta be nice to me. But anywho.
Okay. Danielle Imbo was born on August 7th of 1970 in South Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to parents John and Felice Ortebri. Her father was a singer who went by the name of Johnny October, who rose to fame in the 1950s as a member of the doo-wop group The Four Dates, which eventually became a backup group for the popular singer Frankie Avalon.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, John Sr. passed away from cancer in 1999 at the age of 62 years old. As the daughter of a musician, Danielle was known as a kind and outgoing person, and from what I could see on other articles, she was kind of that type of person that didn't take any shit.
My kind of girl.
And she was dedicated to her 18-month-old son, Joe Jr. And like her dad, she fronted a rock band around New Jersey and boasted a singer's outgoing personality. She mirrored Janis Joplin's style and sang cover songs. And there are reports that there are certain songs that she would sing that the whole audience or crowd or the showroom, wherever she's singing at, they just fell silent.
Ooh, because Janice had some pipes. That's why I like Dorothy too, because she sounds a lot like her.
Oh yeah, I fucking love Dorothy. However, she gave up singing shortly after she met Joe Imbo in 2001. He asked her to stop going to the band, stating, "We're married now, you need to quit the band."
Uh,
So she quits, and 2 years into their marriage, they become parents to her son, Joe Jr. And she told her family, "I now know what it is truly like to be in love with somebody."
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's your first. I mean, your dad's my great love of my life, but you are like it. That's yeah. Children, it's a total different thing. Oh yeah, yeah.
So in 2004, Danielle's husband, Joe, flew to Houston to see the Super Bowl, leaving behind his wife and baby, who were both sick at the time.
Oh, come on, man.
When Joe returned, he had met another woman on the plane and he wanted a divorce.
Oh, I don't fucking think so. No, 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 no. Not that goddamn fast. He's been
Yeah, he's been doing something
yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, yeah, come on, cuz yeah, oh, I've heard of, oh, fell in love at first sight. That's almost mythical, and it doesn't happen quite like that, but no, that son of a bitch already had somebody in his pocket.
So Danielle, who is deeply shocked and hurt by this revelation, complied with Joe's wishes, and the two began the divorce process. Unfortunately, this took a huge toll on Danielle. She began chain smoking, crying every day and night. She would call family for support day in and day out, and she dropped an alarming amount of weight.
Oh, stress will do that. Yes.
Now, Danielle works as a mortgage processor from her condo in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, which was set up for her by her job so she could work from home and still be able to watch Joe Jr., which in 2005, that's like completely fucking unheard of.
I was going to say that's an amazing company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Danielle during this time could be described as a homebody and a cozy type, possibly curling up with a good book or a crossword puzzle. And according to the Voices from Justice podcast, she was an avid true crime reader, devouring books regularly.
My girl. Yeah.
So, one of Danielle's best friends, Christine Petrone, is also in the process of divorcing her husband, and the two were often confiding in each other for support. One night in 2004, the two are hanging out when they're joined by Christine's older brother, Richard Petrone, and there's a spark.
No.
So,
Understandable, but still.
yeah, well, I mean, they've known each other since like grade school, like grew up in the same neighborhood. Obviously, Richard's kind of been around for a good portion of her life, and you lose contact with the siblings after a
Yeah.
while. So,
True story. And then when you're, I wouldn't say exactly lonely, but it hits different. That's for sure.
Richard Petrone Jr. was born on August 29th of 1969 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to parents Richard Sr. and Marguerite, we'll also name her as Marge through this, Petrone. So he was described as hardworking, laid back, family oriented, and compassionate. Richard was a devoted single father with a 14-year-old daughter named Angela and worked in his family's bakery, Viking Pastries, in Ardmore, Pennsylvania,
Pastries. He would be my fan.
where he designed wedding cakes because they were his specialty. And according to his family, he was a hard worker and even going as far as to move into an apartment above the bakery so he could be right there for work every day. He loved what he did.
Nice. Almost has a little bit of moonstruck qualities to it. If you think
And
about it.
even like going as far as Moonstruck, both these families are Italian.
Oh, chef's kiss. We're gonna have
Right?
fun with this
I'm
one.
like, this is great. So, most of all, Richard wants to be a good role model for his little girl. Now, at 14 years old, Angela, who had been living with Richard, moves in with her mom, as her mother originally worked a lot during the week. And Richard basically was like, "Hey, I want you to be able to hold down your job and do what you need to do. I will take the kid during the week. You can have her on the weekends. And that's just how it's worked so far. And it's been a very good organization from both parents.
Nice.
So her mother's finally kind of like settling down and getting like a fluid schedule going and figuring out kind of what's going on with her. And Angela's no longer a child anymore. She's 14 years old, so she's somewhat self sufficient that if her mom needs to go to work, she can watch after herself.
Right.
So she moves back in with her mom, but she still regularly sees and stays with her father.
Nice. Nice.
So Richard, like Danielle, enjoyed music, especially rock. He also watches sports, and he was a huge fan of the Chicago Bears.
I'm sorry, but okay. The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
So Richard and Danielle grew up in the same neighborhood, and they had known each other for most of their lives. Danielle was close with Richard's sister, but over the years had lost touch with Richard's, like I said.
Right.
Upon reconnecting, the two hit it off immediately and soon began dating.
No.
Now, according to Angela, Richard's daughter, he'd never felt this strongly about a woman, stating Danielle was the first girl he had ever really fallen in love with and wanted to dedicate his time to.
Nice.
Now, to no one's surprise, Joe's new relationship abruptly ends,
There's a surprise. Not.
and in turn, he tries to reconcile the relationship with Danielle and asks her to give their marriage another chance. Now,
Piss off.
while Danielle does still have feelings for her husband, because you can't just wash that away,
Oh, I don't know. If he's found somebody else, that'd be a pretty fucking quick solvent for me.
she also feels that the divorce is the right decision, as Joe is allegedly controlling, short-tempered, and his pleas for reconciliation often erupt into explosive arguments.
Wave that red flag, girl. Wave that red flag.
So she's going to go through with the divorce. So during one of these occasions where Joe was getting explosive and asking to reconcile, reportedly he became so angry that he threw his son's high chair against a wall. But he later denied this accusation. Now, after this happened, John Jr., Danielle's brother, comes and changes the locks for her and held a sit down with Joe where he made the message very clear that he needs to be civil.
There's. I wouldn't even say civil. He needs to act like an actual grown up, and he's not. He's being a fucking tantrumatic little toddler.
To which it sounds like this conversation didn't really sink in because apparently Joe calls Richard at his parents' bakery where he worked and starts warning him to stay away from his wife.
That's not your wife anymore, buddy. You're the one that left her for another woman.
The pair are happy together, Danielle and Richard. But in the middle of a nasty divorce and wanting to focus on the transition from being a married woman to a single mother and basically getting her life put back together, she decides it's best that if her and Richard don't see each other for a while, so she could put her focus
No.
on her baby and getting through her divorce.
That's well and good, but it's also. No, it's almost like she's penalizing him for the actions of the turd. It's like,
Well-
no, I know you need to be single and you know to be able to survive by yourself and know you're strong enough to do it, but no.
So, although this hurt Richard, he was respectful of Danielle's wishes and stays away.
What a man.
Now, Richard and Danielle hadn't spoken since they broke things off around the New Year, and Valentine's Day came and went without so much as a text message from either of them.
Aw.
However, Saturday, February 19th of 2005, Richard was eating dinner alone at a bar when he decides that he wants to go see some live music. However, he doesn't want to go alone. Richard eventually reaches out to his sister Christine, who's out enjoying a ladies' night with her mother Marge and the two long friends, Felice Udebry and her daughter, Danielle.
Ah.
Now, Richard and Danielle's relationship had always been this little extra wrinkle And it's not a coincidence that Daniel's out with his sister and the moms are having a girls' night too, because they're all friends,
Right.
dating all the way back to high school where the relationship started.
Okay.
So Richard asks Christine, want to come have a drink? To which Christine declines, but passes the invitation along to Danielle, who she happened to be visiting with at the time, since Joe had the baby that evening and was out of town.
Okay.
Richard and Danielle hadn't spoken in nearly 5 weeks at this point, but surprisingly to Richard, she accepts the invitation.
Good for her.
Richard picked her up in his 2001 black Dodge Dakota, and the two of them went to a bar in Philadelphia's South Street called Abilene. They meet up with two of Richard's friends, Anthony Valentino and his wife Michelle. According to Anthony, the two came into the bar together. Richard had his arm around Danielle, and they seemed happy. They watched the band perform, and by all accounts, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Actually, it was quite the contrary. Danielle and Richard look happy. They're sitting close to each other, smiling, laughing, and at times stealing kisses at the bar side.
Aww. I'm sorry, that's kind of cute, but yeah.
They also compare their schedules for the following week and were planning another date. Danielle had a hair appointment at 11 a.m. the following day, and her ex-husband was scheduled to return with their son after that. Richard, on the other hand, a NASCAR fan, planned to watch the Daytona 500 with some friends the following day. So they're lining up their schedules to see when they're going to be able to meet up again.
Be able to see again. Yes, understandable.
So Anthony and Michelle asked the couple after the show if they wanted to go to another bar with them, but they declined, explaining that they both have early mornings the next day and they didn't want to stay up too late. So they say their goodbyes, and Anthony recalls saying, "I love you, man," and giving Richard a hug. At about 11:45, when the group was departing, Richard was overheard saying he would drive Danielle home to her condo in Mount Laurel before he'd return to his apartment in South Philly. The two walk out into the crisp 27-degree air at the location of 4th and South Streets, where the crowd is a little thinner than usual, towards Richard's truck, which was, according to Anthony, parked fairly close by the bar, and Richard boasted about it as being a great spot earlier in the evening.
Parking karma.
Right? Good parking karma. Unfortunately, they both vanish into thin air.
What?
At 9 a.m. the following morning, Danielle's brother, John Jr., arrives at her condo to do a little handiwork for her. A curtain rod had fallen because of Joe Jr., who had pulled it down earlier in the week. John Jr. goes to knock on the door, and there's no answer. So he calls Danielle's cell phone, and it goes straight to voicemail, like it's been turned off. To which, y'all might not realize this, but the phones back in 2005, that battery charge could last for days.
Oh, God, yeah. My Nokia, weeks. The brick. The
Brick. So John Jr. decides that he's going to call his mother Felice, who fills him in on the previous evening's events and thinks that Danielle may have gone to stay at Richard's that night after possibly having a little too much to drink.
No, okay.
So, fair observation.
Yeah.
John Jr. figures, all right, that makes sense. So he uses his spare key to enter Danielle's condo. When he's inside, the house is undisturbed. It's clean, the bed isn't slept in, and the ashtray is clean. So nobody's been home.
Well, that would meet up with the same assumption that she went and spent the night at his house.
So he's like, okay, she didn't come home last night. That's fine. She's probably with Richard. He decides to proceed to go hang up the drapes and leaves the condo. So 11 a.m. rolls around, and Danielle has her hair appointment at a salon where Christine works, but she doesn't show up. According to Danielle's mother, she was very punctual for everything. So for her to just not have called and not shown up for Christine is completely unlike her.
Exactly. You know, women don't miss their hair appointments. Come on, man.
Right? So just as John Jr. and Felice had done earlier, Christine presumes that Richard and her are together and attempts to make contact with them via cell phone. However, Richard's phone goes straight to voicemail as well.
Oh, that's never good.
And now the families begin to grow increasingly concerned, especially when his mom starts calling him and he doesn't answer.
Yeah, because when the mom calls,
You
yeah,
answer.
answer.
So Marge notes that if he didn't have Angela, there was no reason that he wouldn't answer the phone for her. And for there being several calls with no answer, it's completely unlike him.
Right.
This turns the families into frantically phoning each other, trying to figure out if either of them have heard from Danielle or Richard.
Right.
Marge asks her sister during one of these calls to swing past Richard's apartment and see if he's been home. To which the sister says that she doesn't think that Richard has been home as he has a dog and it's barking and barking and throwing like a fit when she gets there.
Oh, puppy.
Marge also decides to call Anthony, who had been with the two at the club the previous evening, to which he relays that they supposedly were heading back to Danielle's condo. At around 5 p.m., the time that Joe Jr. was being dropped off by his father, Danielle still wasn't home for her most important obligation. And the family begins to grow frantically worried, and that panic boils over.
Can't blame him.
So John Jr. remarked later, she wouldn't have missed that. No way. In regards to Danielle not being home to take care of Joe Jr. To which, that's your
Exactly.
child, but she's also in the
Yeah,
middle of a
exactly.
messy fucking divorce. And if there's any reason to give a custody battle, you don't want to give that to your ex.
Exactly. Yeah. Something's not copacetic.
So when Joe arrives at Danielle's home that afternoon to drop off Joe Jr., and Danielle's family is there, but not Danielle, John tries to cover for her, basically saying that she couldn't be there right now, but I'll take care of Joan Jr. in her absence. They also decide that at that time, they're not going to let Joe know that she's missing.
Right.
Both Danielle and Richard were close to their families and in frequent contact with them. So it wasn't like either of them to just go out of nowhere and go no contact.
Exactly. They just didn't disappear without a trace. But they did.
So when hours go by with no word, the families both begin to panic and they report them missing. However, the police tell them you need to wait 48 hours before reporting them
Oh,
missing.
bull fucking shit. I hate. Yeah. No. Don't ever believe that.
Unlike the police, though, the families aren't about to sit around and wait 24 hours or 48 hours to begin their search. They start calling hospitals, police stations, anywhere you can think somebody might be injured or locked away where they can't immediately get in contact with you.
Good for them.
At around 7 p.m., when night came, Joe Jr. and Richard Petrone Sr. drove to the city streets, checking the highway routes that they may have taken, looking for Richard's truck, slowing down and looking down each side street, each back alley between Philly and Mount Laurel. They started their search at Abilene, and then they started stopping at different precincts in Philadelphia in search of answers. John Jr. recalls how walking into the first police station, you have all this hope. And then when they tell you, we haven't seen them, it starts to
You start
deflate.
slide. Yeah.
Then as you make trips to the next station and the next, and you're getting that same answer, that hope dwindles in you. And you have your confirmation that they are physically not okay.
Exactly. Oh, heart-wrenching.
The two men drive around up and down every street looking for any sign of Richard's truck, and it's going to be hard to miss a big black truck on the side of the road.
Exactly.
Then they start having to think about the path that the couple may have taken back to Danielle's home in Mount Laurel. There are 4 different bridges over the Delaware River that
Right.
could have been used. However, the most likely options are the Walt Whitman or the Ben Franklin bridges. Although there's so many different options and routes that could have been taken, it's difficult to know which one they may have been on this 25-mile ride. However, after 13 hours of searching and the sun rising on the horizon, the two are forced to call it a night and go back home. That day, friends and volunteers organized a grid search and covered 100 miles in each direction, carrying
Wow.
pictures of Richard's truck and the license plate number YFH2319. Now, law enforcement in Philadelphia and New Jersey are moving on the case, issuing an APB, an all points bulletin, for Richard's truck. And the Philadelphia police are asking for the Federal Bureau of Investigation for their assistance with phone records. Law enforcement also begins checking into the couple's financial records in any effort to possibly trace their whereabouts. Richard is apparently more of a cash guy, while Danielle uses credit cards, which, I mean, that's completely fair. I'm like, I don't think I've seen my dad whip his credit card out too much. He usually just uses cash. Whereas I'm like, magic plastic card.
I prefer to pay in cash, but usually because your dad's paying in cash, he uses me as the ATM. So any money that I have, he has. Yeah. Anyways. And you know it's true.
I know it's very true. But yeah, I'm like, most girls I do see using credit cards more than cash. I'm like, yeah, magic plastic card, take my money.
Oh, God. I was so tickled that I had $6 in ones to pay for my booze tonight. Yay. Go me.
However, when they look at this activity, there's absolutely none. There's nothing on their phones, nothing on their bank accounts, and nothing on the credit cards.
Oh, my God. They just up and disappeared like a fart in the wind. Mm-hmm. That is just, oh.
So, among different agencies involved with this investigation, there are more than 10 officers currently working on the case, most of which are also pounding the pavement to find leads. So, they're going out, down, and up streets asking for questions.
Well, that's good because, as we both know, I'm surprised it didn't come out of it was a suicide murder, or just double suicide. Yeah, whatever.
However, they never drummed up any witnesses outside of Abilene that night that the two may have been seen. There's nothing suspicious that comes forward, no reports of an altercation taking place, nothing. Additionally, like the Sage Smith case that we just covered, there's not a whole lot of security cameras in that downtown area.
I was going to say it's 2005. I mean, they had them, but you usually, and honest to God, this is not a story. It's, well, we forgot to put the VCR tape in because that's what it was run by back then. Mm-hmm. Or we haven't cleaned it out, or it died months ago, so we're not going to do it. Yeah, that's a sad thing. So, those poor people.
The footage that does exist from that night doesn't show the couple either. Oh, wow. Investigators also start looking at the bridges the couple may have taken to get across the Delaware River, looking at toll passes for any footage of them coming or going between New Jersey or Pennsylvania. However, it's important to note that at the time, there are no cameras in the direction that the couple may have gone. So mainly they're hoping that they see Richard come back.
Oh, good. Oh, okay.
So they only have the cameras on the one side of the toll booth due to coming into Pennsylvania, you actually have tolls. But going out of Pennsylvania, you don't have them.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes kind of sense. Yes.
Yeah. So now it's back to interviewing friends and family of Danielle and Richard. Anthony is among one of the first ones since he was the last person to presumably see Danielle or Richard that evening. They're asking him questions about the night and if either of the two seemed uncomfortable or unhappy, did something go on? To which Anthony relays the same story we heard earlier about both of them being happy and they were just having a good evening all around.
They were enjoying being together again. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, police go as far as to give Anthony a lie detector test, just to make sure that Anthony isn't possibly hiding information to protect his friend.
Okay.
Which, to no one's surprise, there's nothing unusual that comes from this interview or the lie detector test. And they announce that they don't believe that he's connected with the disappearance. 2 weeks after the disappearance, John Jr. personally spent $1,200 hiring a Camden police officer to commandeer a helicopter to search the city and the Delaware River.
Okay, cool.
However, no one found anything. According to one report, the pilot that John was with told him, "No one's going to find anything." And John said, "What do you mean?" The officer responds, "It's too clean."
Ooh.
Now, law enforcement believe that finding the Dodge Dakota is the key to finding out what happened to Danielle and Richard. After all, how do you make a nearly 4,000-pound truck vanish?
Well, there's fucking crushers and big goddamn holes and lakes and oh, there's many, many ways.
So, there's a theory emerging that the couple was carjacked and murdered. Then the truck
Ooh,
was taken to a chop shop and sold for parts. This could be
that's
a plausible
legit.
idea, as there's
Yeah,
over 13,000 vehicles registered as stolen in Philadelphia in 2004 alone.
yeah. That could legit be yeah.
Yeah. The FBI and Philadelphia Stolen Car Squad worked in conjunction to investigate this lead. However, it's ultimately never proven or doesn't go anywhere, and there's no evidence to suggest that a carjacking took place.
Right.
Now, there's also 14,000 square feet of Delaware River, which separates Pennsylvania from New Jersey. Could the couple have possibly been involved in a terrible accident? The Petrone family at this time gets a tip that there is an area on the Philadelphia waterfront where the gate is broken, and it appeared that it may have been ran over by a vehicle. Divers enter the water and search the area, and they're in the water for hours looking and trying to find any evidence that Richard's truck is here. To which there are cars down there, but none of them are Richard's.
Well, that's kind of comforting, but not. What about
Yeah.
those poor cars?
It sounds like those cars were involved with insurance scams.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
like, okay.
Oh, yeah. Nope, my kitty cat's back.
So those familiar enough with the Philadelphia area believe this is also an unlikely explanation, as there aren't really a whole lot of ways to directly access the river from the street. So, after 3 weeks and still no clues, and 5 agencies between the two states engaging in the search, the FBI is appointed to coordinate their efforts with Vito Rosselli leading the investigation. Unfortunately, with emotions at an all-time high now, speculation and finger pointing begins to take place between the families. Danielle's family wonders about Richard, claiming he was rough around the edges and perhaps suggesting that he had a gambling debt or mob tie that could have gotten him and Danielle killed. Richard's family obviously defends him, and he's got no ties to drugs, gambling debts, and nothing to do with the mob, with Marge insisting, "My son didn't put a quarter in a slot machine. He despised gambling."
I'm sorry, but I'd still be looking at the ex-husband. But that's just me.
Investigators also looked into Richard's background, and obviously, this is quickly debunked. As far as they could see, there was nothing emerging that would cause him to be a target for murder. So, in turn, Richard's family pointed to Danielle's estranged husband, Joe, and their divorce. At an early press conference after the couple had went missing, Marge even tried to confront Joe, going as far as to get in his face about what was going on, until
Good for
John
her.
Jr. intervenes and pulls her away.
I keep going back to him, but that's just me.
So, after Danielle's disappearance, police did inform her family that Joe had her cell phone password and had been listening to her voicemail. To which Joe says that he was simply jealous during everything that was going on with the divorce. I'm like, but you're fucking creeping on her fucking voicemail? You fucking. Bleh.
I'm sorry, but as soon as divorce proceedings started, I would have changed all that shit.
To be fair, I'm like,
But
I don't fucking. You don't get that password. You can have the passcode to get into my phone, and I hope that you respect that. But as soon as you like show me that you're not capable of that, that passcode's getting changed.
I was gonna say, but I have nothing to hide from your dad, so
I
there's
mean,
it's
yeah.
mute for us. But yeah, still, if that were to happen, oh yeah, you can bet your sweet ass how fast those passcodes would change.
However, Joe had a rock solid alibi for February 19th, one that placed him 50 miles away at a family function with his stepfather, an ex NYPD officer, and other active officers in the area.
Oh, because that makes it valid. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be on the no.
Now,
No.
investigators do look into this alibi, and they cross reference through individuals at the party that night and were able to confirm this is a solid alibi. They additionally made Joe take a lie detector test, and while the results have not been discussed, the FBI agent Vito Rossoli states, "I don't have the evidence to arrest Joe. I have also not ruled him out." Joe has never been named a suspect in this case.
Oh, I'm sorry, but they should. Anyways.
However, the finger pointing and accusations have driven a mighty wedge between the families who had been friends for decades. Even though they both share an interest in finding their loved ones, the divide is so deep that they stop working together to solve the mystery of what happened to Danielle and Richard. Richard Sr. even went as far as to write a letter to John Jr. and Felice to not speak of their son again. John Jr. does hope that the families can reconcile one day, stating, "The speculation doesn't do any good. It only causes more problems."
True.
By late March of 2005, the case is at a standstill. But then Danielle's family gets a call that raises hopes for the first time in weeks. John Jr. receives a call from someone telling him, "Danielle is in a boxcar under the Walt Whitman Bridge, and she's dying. And we need to get there or we'd never see her again."
What the fuck?
Now, John Jr. states in an interview that, "I felt like I was the man of the family, like it was up to me to find my sister." So, without hesitation, John Jr. is rushing out the door. John Jr. immediately calls the Mount Laurel detective, Ed Pincus, who was working the case at the time, and tells him about this call and that he's going, and he doesn't care if he sounds crazy. And Pincus tells him bluntly, "That's crazy. You can't go." To which John responds with, while he's driving, "Well, I'm on my way. So you're either with me or you're not, but I'm going."
Good for him.
Now, Ed Pincus is fearing that this is going to be a second tragedy in the families, and he orders a search. But John Jr. is already in motion, so law enforcement is running behind him. The tracks are just 10 miles away from Danielle's condo, tucked under a bridge. And John Jr. is out there close to midnight, scaling a fence with barbed wire and a flashlight to go check this train car box out for his sister. John describes the area as a train graveyard, and he thinks to himself while looking through the area, "Well, I guess this is a place that you would dump a body."
Easily, yeah.
When he approaches a closed box car, the fear starts to kick in. He knows in his heart that if he does find Danielle, she won't be alive. He pushes forward, expecting the worst, and opens the door, but there's nothing. It doesn't take long before police show up too and escort John Jr. out of the area. They too scour the train, moving from car to car, but also find no indication that Danielle was there or had ever been there. John Jr. is driven back to the Mount Laurel police station by an officer and is placed in one of the interrogation rooms where Ed Pincus tells John, "You've got to stop this. You've gone crazy. What you did was dangerous." In response to this whole situation, though, John argues that if it's something that puts his mother's mind to ease and there's a chance, he's going.
Can't blame him.
However, John Jr. and Felice insist furthermore that until there's direct evidence indicating that Danielle and Richard are dead, there's no reason to think that they're not alive. Even 4 months later, at a benefit concert for Danielle's son, John Jr. told reporters that the family still held on to hope that she would turn up alive. Today, though, he's made comments of, "I know I must have looked really stupid, really naive, but I felt like I had to do it for my mother." To which, in no shape or fucking form, is it stupid or naive to hope that your loved one who is missing is still alive out there somewhere. It's not.
Well, exactly. Exactly.
Missing persons have such a feeling of ambiguous loss and a lack of closure. It's not wrong to hope for the best.
It's just that open gnawing sensation of, was there more I could have done?
Is there more that I could have done? If I stop and I say that like they're dead and they're not, what's that going to do in the future if they do show up alive? There's so much that you're just left questioning and feeling empty about. It's a very up and down feeling.
Exactly.
Now, just a few miles away, the Petrones are going through their own emotional roller coaster. The first night, Sunday, Richard Jr. was missing. Marge felt her son's death lodge, or passing. It was something that she felt in her gut, even though Richard Sr. sat down and called every hospital and every police department in the region looking for the two. Richard Sr. states, "At that point, I was hoping they'd been arrested or in some kind of accident, but somehow they'd come back to us. They'd be all right." However, by the following Tuesday, he too was sure that his son was dead. Richard Sr. recalls his wife citing the mother's intuition for the belief of why their son is gone, which, I mean, we've both experienced that, of just that gut feeling of somebody's past. Like, it's over. So they now have to bring up the unimaginable. They have to go tell Richard's daughter, Angela, her daddy's not coming home. Now, there are two vastly different outlooks occurring between the two families. The Otabries are pressing for hope, and the Petrones are looking for some semblance of closure and acceptance. Unfortunately, the tensions continue to rise.
Yep.
As spring rolls around and the snow melts, the search expands into the Pine Barrens, a wooded area not far from Danielle's home. Even though they have no idea if Richard or Danielle made it into the New Jersey area that night, the families don't want to leave any possible area unexplored or any stone unturned.
Exactly.
So there were upwards to 50 volunteers on any given Saturday or Sunday when they went out searching and mapping along the area, looking for anything that could be in the woods. The truck, maybe a fragment of clothing, or even the remains, but nothing was ever found. By the 6-month anniversary of the disappearance, a candlelit vigil was held outside of Abilene on South Street, where the couple was last seen. Now, over the course of 3 years, the case has gone cold, with no new leads or theories as to what happened when Vito Rossoli gets a call from the Philadelphia Police Department. During the course of an unrelated investigation, a dive unit comes across a vehicle in the water matching the description of Richard Petrone's truck. A team is immediately deployed to recover the vehicle, and the media coverage rolls in with cameras to monitor the new development in the story.
Oh, I'm sorry. Media, back the fuck off until the work's done.
So they're forced to tell the families immediately, like, hey, we're making our way down to the scene. This might be Richard's truck. We don't know, but we want to let you know so the media doesn't tell you before we have a chance to. So individuals make their way down to the scene, family or friends, because some family, understandably, just they don't want to be there. They don't want that to be the final thing. And it takes nearly 4 hours for the truck to reach the surface. The plates don't match. However, it's easy enough to change a license plate, so investigators cross-examine the VIN number on the truck, and it's hours while they're doing this. And when it finally comes back, it's not his truck. Now, there's a mixture of emotions, obviously. Marge states how she's relieved it wasn't his truck, but in another way, she just wants this to be over.
Exactly. You get your hopes up and it's down. Up, down. Fucking roller coaster of emotion.
In 2015, 10 years after the couple disappeared, and over 50 investigators combing through with over 300 leads being followed and cataloged, the case remains cold. At this point, the FBI Cold Case Task Force joins the team, posting new billboards across the East Coast to engage the public's help with solving this case. Also, for unknown reasons as to why, the task force is now convinced that Richard and Danielle's disappearance was possibly a murder for hire carried out by professionals, given how clean and abruptly they disappeared without any evidence left behind. This seems like a very plausible explanation.
No shit. Didn't go there, but I'm here now.
In 2010, Robert Carey, an alleged leader of the Kensington area prescription pill drug ring, killed himself in prison, and there were many rumors for years that he had been a hitman. However, most people who knew him said that he was more of a bruiser, like lump up your enemies rather than killing them, like make them scared of you, but don't
Right.
kill them all the way.
Yeah, yeah. Because you won't get your money back if you kill him.
And he didn't really need to incur capital murder charge for dealing drugs too. Like he got exactly what he wanted with dealing drugs, money. However, there were still whispers regarding the suicide note that he left behind before hanging himself with a shoelace, which contained a confession to killing Danielle and Richard. However, two people who read the letter determined that this was a false rumor. However, Vito Rossoli hasn't closed the book on Robert Carey's involvement, so there might be something else going on there. In 2015, authorities also questioned one Patrick Tracy, the Pagans motorcycle gang enforcer and drug chief, regarding his knowledge on a pair of two notorious double homicides in the year of 2005, one being possibly Danielle and Richard. However, he declines that he had anything to do with the acts of violence or the disappearances, which, I mean, he's in prison. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk.
Well, that, and he doesn't want any time stacked up on him extra, so yeah.
Oh, absolutely. As of 2022, a search and recovery team based in Oregon has joined the search for Danielle and Richard. And I absolutely love this group. I follow them on TikTok. I follow them on YouTube. Please go do the same and go follow Adventures with Purpose. They are an underwater sonar search and recovery dive team. And since 2019, they have located 29 missing loved ones underwater in their vehicles.
Holy crackers. Good for them.
They provide documentaries on YouTube of the cases that they've helped solve, as well as discussed the importance of reliable window breakers and seatbelt cutters.
Yep.
Doug Bishop with Adventures with a Purpose commented on the case in an interview stating, "I know the FBI's position is that there was foul play and that the vehicle was somehow made it to a chop shop. However, there's no actual information leading to suspect those types of conclusions. So our specialty is water. We know that the couple that's missing is missing with their vehicle, and we're going to do what we do best." The team has searched several spots in the Delaware River in the proximity of where the couple was last seen and the possible route that they may have taken home to Danielle's condo that evening. Unfortunately, the search has not turned up anything in relevance to the case. However, in 2022, they did indicate that they were not done with this case and still actively working on this to get closure for the families. They were done for the season, but they would be back the following year.
Good for them.
Now we're going to go back to 2014 real quick, because Vito Rossoli, the investigator put in charge of this case, made a press statement saying making two people disappear and a truck with no witnesses and no evidence of any kind for 9 years suggests methodical planning, and it's possible a perpetrator could just get lucky, but it's more likely just what it looks like. Someone behind this knew exactly what they were doing. And the reason I'm putting this here is because we know someone who is methodical, leaves little to no evidence of any kind, and knows how to make people disappear.
My butthole just slammed shut when he went back to 2014.
When I discussed Israel Keys at the end of the year, we had a list of missing persons cases that he had on his computer. Two of which were that of Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone. Now, moving forward, I want to say that this is purely speculation and not fact, and I do not know if the FBI has looked into Israel Keys in regards to this.
Put her conspiracy white tinfoil hats on. I'm ready to ride. Lay it on me, sister.
So, looking back at the travel records, I fucking ran to these motherfuckers because I'm like, what the fuck were you doing, Israel? So looking back at these travel records, Israel Keys was gone from October 6th to the 16th in 2004. He boarded a plane from Seattle, Washington, and landed in Manchester, New Hampshire for a round trip. From there, he rented an enterprise vehicle, a red Kia Amati. license plate number 1230139. During that trip, he racked up a total of 1,745 miles, and he had permission to leave the state.
Holy shnikes.
Now, let's say this is a scouting trip. He's going up to this area to make some of his notorious kill buckets. A trip from New Hampshire to his property in New York is 270 miles.
Drop in the bucket.
From there, well, he's going up to his property to get his stuff.
I know. That's what I'm saying, though. It's drop in the bucket for him because he toured all over.
Yep. From there, he could go down through a couple other regions, possibly to Pennsylvania. If he goes from his residence towards Philly and possibly even into New Jersey, it's roughly 440 miles, give or take. Then a trip from Philadelphia back to Manchester is 343.9 miles. That only adds up to roughly 784.9 miles on that car. It's not even half of the mileage recorded on the vehicle.
Wow.
So after this trip, there's little to no travel records, which we all know is a bad sign when it comes to Israel Keys. He's gone silent. Yep. He's doing something. He went
dark. He's up to no good.
So here's my theory in regards to this case. Israel leaves sometime between mid-February, maybe around Valentine's Day, if not a little later, because I think that he still has a girlfriend at the time, or he's just coming out of the relationship because he moves to Alaska in the middle of 2005, middle to end of 2005.
Right.
Israel uses a fake ID.
We know he has.
Boards a plane from Seattle to the East Coast, ideally Philadelphia International Airport. He's in the city, so he doesn't have to rent a car, but if he does have a fake ID to put it on. Mm-hmm. He's probably using cash. He's going to use public transport or walk, similarly to what he did in Essex, Vermont with the couriers. He's already tapped one of his kill buckets for the minimal items. He's walking around probably carrying a gun and some zip ties, trying to pick a target. When, lo and behold, his ideal target walks out of a bar and down an empty street right in front of him. A couple, head over heels in love, laughing and absorbed with one another.
Yep.
He approaches them, holds them at gunpoint, and calmly instructs them to get into the vehicle, restraining both of them in the time. From this point, he carries out the murder and takes the truck to possibly commit further crimes or simply disposes of it in a different lake or river that's not even close to where the crime took place.
Yeah, that sounds him.
From there, he makes his way back into the city and he flies home to Washington on the 26th. He drives through Port Angeles on his way back to Nia Bay, since it's on the way from Seattle, visiting with some friends, and then he continues into Nia Bay, arriving to send an email at 3 a.m., which is time-stamped for the Federal Bureau of Investigation on the 27th.
Right.
Then he starts doing what he regularly does, checking media coverage of his victims to see how the case is going, adding their names to his list of possible victims on his laptop. And God knows what he had on that computer he destroyed after killing Samantha Koenig.
Yep. That was his one smart move to get rid of that one. Mm-hmm. And I think that one had everything lot more on it. Yeah, I think it had a lot more. The other one was just basically a scouting report type of thing. Jesus. Fucking Israel.
So you like my big brain moment I had last night? 2 nights ago, I had to fucking call my best friend for this because I couldn't tell you. I'm like,
I know.
Oh my God.
And see, I wasn't even going there until you said you went back. Now we're going to go back to, and I'm like, oh shit. He did come that direction a few times. Mm-hmm. And yeah, 200-300 miles for him was not a big deal. He loved to drive. And we're not saying they were his only victims either, because that fucker would do
distinctly
anybody.
That they're his victims either, because it could be a very real possibility. And I think it's something that does need to be taken into consideration with this investigation.
Yeah, you would figure if the FBI's got some information on him and they know he is, I call him I reached out and touched you, now bye-bye, and get the hell out of Dodge. That was one of his biggest telling cards, was so many things happened, yet there was no fucking evidence.
Well, here's another thing.
Samantha was the only one he did.
Looking through some of that victims list stuff, going back through on the missing persons that he had on that computer, there's another one in Philadelphia in 2005. One Rick Gricar.
Target-rich environment, and we know he didn't shy away from
I'm like,
a challenge.
If you have a couple in Philadelphia, that leads me to believe that there is a kill bucket somewhere nearby that you go tap and you come over.
Oh, I believe he had them everywhere, and we've yet to find them all. And the ones that have been found have not been turned over to investigators or anything. It's some John Q. Public out there going, far out, I found myself a gun and some zip ties and blah, blah, blah. My lucky day, free shit. So,
to be fair, though, if I found that in the middle of the fucking woods, I'd be like,
yeah,
oh,
I'm thinking there's been a lot of his
God.
buckets that have been found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today, the two families, from what I can find, still don't speak. Danielle's son is growing up with little to no memories of his mother, while Richard's daughter has gotten married and now has a little one of her own. And she's taken up working at Viking Pastries. Angela remarks on the empty feeling the bakery holds without Richard, but believes that she'd be proud of her following in his footsteps and striving to live up to the same standards that he did.
Well, most parents are amazingly proud of whatever their children do, regardless of what it is. It's like, I can't imagine not being proud of something my kids haven't done or have done. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's just, it's one of those things you just, as a parent, it's like, cool. And then they do something to, especially with her following in her dad's footsteps, it's like she's completing a legacy for him. So that's like the ultimate tribute.
Absolutely.
Yep. Fucking Israel.
So,
Blamey bastard.
If you do not have a window breaker in your car and you would like to support the Adventures with a Purpose group, they do offer and sell window breakers that they highly recommend. And this allows them to keep their resources going and their services free to families and law enforcement. You can
Amen. Reach out.
Absolutely donate too if you don't want a window breaker, although I highly suggest that you get one, because even if you're sitting there going, oh, well, that would never happen to me, you don't know. You do not know, and it's safer to have it in your vehicle. I'm pretty safe here,
although we have the lake down the road, but I don't get close to that bitch, so I'm pretty safe in Arizona. It's pretty dry locked.
For the most part. But you never know what could happen, and it's safer to have it in your car. And even the one that they recommend has a seatbelt cutter too on it. So let's say you get in a bad
those things
crash.
Are awesome.
You need to get out of your vehicle. Your seatbelt's locked and it won't come out. You have a seatbelt cutter. So definitely, if you think that you don't need one, get one just in case, because there's some family member of yours out there that's going to be heartbroken if something happens.
Hey, it's a little early for Christmas gifts, but well, Valentine's is gone.
St.
Easter's
Patrick's Day.
St. Patty's Day. Mother's Day for the mama. Father's Day for the daddy. Graduation gift. Practical stuff like that. Just always, I love that stuff.
But yeah, if you don't need a window breaker or you don't want one for some reason, you can absolutely go through and donate to Adventures with a Purpose on their website, which will be linked in our show notes. Now, the FBI is still seeking information regarding the disappearance of Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone Jr. There is a $50,000 reward for information on the couple's whereabouts or information leading to the arrests of those responsible for the disappearance. Is there anything else that you would like to say before I go into the nitty-gritty?
The nitty-gritty, the dirt band. No, again... It's like, it's nice to speculate, but, we know for a fact that Jesus, just after combing through just a minimal amount of information we had about Israel Keys, the dude was prolific and he was really, really good. Yeah. That's why they call him the American Predator.
Or the cross-country killer, because he was everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. Because, we just tapped into the fact that he was most likely in Canada. We knew he was in Mexico. We know he went into the Caribbean. Obviously, he was over in Israel and
Egypt
Egypt,
and Belize. It's
Hawaii.
he's
Yeah,
everywhere. And there are some
he
locations
was
that weren't
everywhere.
documented either.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, this dude could pop up over and over again. And like Kate said, it was just speculation, but I'm with you on that one. Yeah,
When I laid it down, I'm like, and literally to look and see, like, even like a full round trip, like, let's say he does the same landing procedure. He lands in New Hampshire. He goes down to Philadelphia. He taps a kill bucket down there. From there, he
yep.
goes back up to his New York property, and even making this triangle, it only adds up to like maybe 1,100 miles at most.
hmm it's when you think about it, it's harder for us being from larger states that we go, oh my God, that's a drive and a half to go to another state. Because yeah, from where I'm at, it takes 6 hours to get across to Arizona. When you're over in the East Coast, those little bitty hops and jumps and stuff, and you can cover 4 or 5 different states in just a matter of hours.
Oh yeah, and
So
it's
he had
literally only a couple
plenty of
hours
time.
drive. Like it's like four
Exactly.
hours over to the property and then like 4 hours down to Pennsylvania. I think the longest one was like 7 hours in total. I'm like, yeah, that's nothing for him.
Yeah, that was just a good day driving for him. Yeah, he did like to scout him out. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So
So, in my opinion, I don't think he should be ruled out. I think
no,
it should be something that's looked into and possibly even doing another comb over of the New York property because it wouldn't be unlike him to take somebody to a different state.
he deposited where he was comfortable at, and it's like the Crescent Lake. Nobody really went over that one too much, and yet once we delved into it, we found out that it was a deep friggin' lake, and he was fond of making anchors. So,
And not to mention, he
yeah,
follows
and
other
he,
serial killers too. So it's like, is he
yeah,
following what was happening with David Parker Ray, where he literally made a statement to the press of all you have to do is cut him up the belly, empty him out, weigh him down, and they won't resurface.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's just, yeah, the thought just, and there's probably others up there that we have never even heard about or haven't been found out about yet either, too, that admired his shit.
oh,
So,
absolutely. And especially with how
yeah,
media is nowadays, like there are people that listen to podcasts that do not have the best intentions when it comes to the true
of
crime
course not.
community. They're looking for tips, they're looking for how to do this right.
Oh, yeah.
So there's
I mean,
absolutely a couple people out there, at least, that are most likely
keep your head
following
on
in
a swivel
Israel's
and watch your
footsteps.
six, man. That's all you can do. Especially ladies. Make sure you have some sort of defense or a plan of defense.
All right. Well, we are going to go through Danielle and Richard's demographics real quick. So, starting with Danielle Imbo, her sex is female, her ethnicity is white or Caucasian, her height is 5 foot 5 inches tall, her weight is 117 pounds, her hair is brown, her eye color is hazel. The last date of contact was February 19th of 2005. She is missing from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the age at her disappearance was 34. Her current age today would be somewhere around 53. Additional information was that she was last seen wearing a cream-colored sweater, black jacket, and jeans. She has a tattoo of flowers on her back. Her NamUs profile number is MP806. Richard Petrone is male. His ethnicity is white or Caucasian. His height is 5 foot 9 inches tall. His weight is 200 pounds. His hair color is brown, and he also has a beard and mustache. His eye color is blue. The last date of contact was February 19th of 2005. He is missing from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The age at disappearance was 35 years old, and the age today would be somewhere around 54 years old. He was last seen wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt, jeans, and sneakers. He has a tattoo of the name Angela on his left bicep and a tattoo of several clowns in colored ink on the right one. They may have been driving a four-door 2001 Dodge Dakota pickup. Its color is black and silver with Pennsylvania license plates YFH2319. And the VIN number for this truck is 1B7H G2AN41S293315. There was also a 99 NASCAR sticker on the rear window. The NamUs profile for Richard Petrone is MP3968. If you or anyone you know has any information in regards to the disappearances of Danielle Imbo or Richard Petrone, you are asked to contact the Philadelphia Police Department at 215-686-3013. That number again is 215-686-3013. Or you can contact the Citizens Crime Commission tip line at 215-546-8477. That number again is 215-546-8477. Thank you again for listening to Spattered. Please make sure to follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at Spattered Podcast and on X at Spattered Pod. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you're watching on YouTube, like this video, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to be notified when the show goes live or drops a video. As always, if you have a case request, any questions, or are interested in sponsoring the show, please email me at spatteredpodcast@gmail.com. Spattered is a true crime podcast hosted by Caitlin Gardner and Sarah Ray. The research and edits for this episode were done by Caitlin Gardner. All the music for the show was done by Lucio Cardenas. We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. And remember, the truth is always in the blood.